What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. We have 29 days to the release of Spider-Man Thereabout, and my plan and my goal is at 8 a.m. every morning I will have content for you discussing matters concerning this particular video game. Just recently, we just had a new report that said that Spider-Man 2 will not have a day-night cycle. Apparently, there was an exclusive interview done by this website here, and they spoke with Ryan Smith, who pretty much gave the lowdown that says, we decided or we opted not to add the day-night cycle and dynamic weather. The game director told them, as well as, as basically they said, we have a well-designed lighting system designed to tell the story we want. This is from Aeroged, I think that's what this is, .com. And so it's very interesting. I don't know if they did the interview or somebody else did the interview, but it says in our exclusive interview. So this is something that, we have available to us to read. Another really cool thing is a lot of people have been talking about this, and some people said in the 2018 Spider-Man there was a day-night cycle. I didn't even know about it, and that's very important because not only I did not know about it, a good amount of people didn't know about it. Well, why? Because it probably was not relevant. A lot of people enjoy playing a Spider-Man daytime or nighttime. But here's something that's actually very interesting about all of this. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because according to this particular, article, what they're saying is there would therefore be behind this narrative needs, an adventure setting, as well as wanting to highlight the lighting system for the specific story. So in reality, the transition from day night, according to what they write here, is going to happen or take place in a predetermined manner. This is very important and this is very critical. Why we have to talk about this is because most times folk within the Sony and PlayStation ecosystem don't necessarily realize that a lot of the video games that they play are predetermined from a mechanical game mechanics and development perspective. Now, yes, there will be the memes that come out and say, well, it's a Sony game, QTE, hold your hand, blah, blah, blah. But that's an oversimplification. I think what might be going on is a lot of folk in these Sony ecosystems, they are too harsh on their criticisms of other video games, so they back themselves into a corner when it's time for them to actually, make an argument. And so sometimes, you really have to come back and actually do some cleanup in order not to, kind of make everything kind of weird or awkward at the end of the day. So what I'm talking about here and what anybody, who is interested, needs to know is at the end of the day, here is what you need to take into account, because if you take this into account, that every video game designed in its own way is going to highlight things that are important to that video game. For example, when a lot of people were critiquing Gotham Knights, when it first came out, they were talking about how this game cannot do things as much as Spider-Man and so on and so forth. I remember those conversations, but one thing a lot of people did not want to admit at the onset was both games are designed differently, and one of them having an open world with spontaneously generating, missions and activities would require all kinds of different things. Now, granted, the way the animations here play out for the different nights and so on and so forth, they are different from Spider-Man. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, both superhero games are designed exceptionally differently. Like they are in two different worlds at the end of the day. This particular game doesn't even bother to give you a daytime cycle. It's full on nighttime. So everything is already specifically set, to one particular time of the day. But to me, that is not a problem, especially when your game does not require for you to have anything of that nature. So when you think about Spider-Man, he's a character who can operate in the day and operate at night. We know canonically that this is not really a big deal. And if the story that they're telling happens, say, in one particular, time period, or everything has already been written a specific way, then it makes sense to have the game not require a day-night cycle, because people, like I said, didn't even know about the last one from the other Spider-Man game. That was how crazy it was, because if we did know, we would have probably maybe used it, or maybe we didn't care enough to even know that there was a day-night cycle. So it doesn't even, in a sense, take anything away from the game. So one thing you're going to see people do is they're going to try to make this, I don't know what it is. They're going to try to make some false equivalence about all of that. And, maybe in their minds, they're going to, chalk it up to, oh, it's because of this or it's because of that, while other games do it. But the reality is, it's just the developer's choice. The developer can opt to put a day-night cycle in their game, but if it's not necessary, why not go ahead and just, forfeit it at the end of the day? So I really in my opinion anyways, I respect the decisions that, Insomniac has made, but I wish a lot of PlayStation fans will also respect the development decisions that other developers make. They usually don't. They will compare their PlayStation games with every other game, even though a lot of these PlayStation games are, in a sense, kind of linear overall. They don't really have too much in terms of flexibility and spontaneity, which is actually a good thing because the game is quite directed in its focus is to achieve exactly what the game is designed to achieve. And so are other games. Some other games, they're designed with a broader scope in mind. They want to basically go with multiple different things. Gotham Knights dropped for its first iteration 4 different characters. Nobody really considered how complicated that is to develop in a video game and how all those characters are, in a sense, interact with all the enemy NPCs and enemy classes, and then added some RPG elements. In the case of Spider-Man, on the other hand, Spider-Man, basically the developers, they built to getting to the second character who would then be showing up in the next game, which is Miles Morales. So basically they took 3 games to go ahead and implement it, which was a smart choice because now it gives you enough time and gives you enough flexibility to be able to build core systems in the game. So you have to look at things like that in order for you to be able to say, okay, this is the stuff that we can appreciate. And at the end of the day, you can say, okay, we can also appreciate this stuff too as well. And here's a loading screen too in Spider-Man. People talk about loading screens as well, but it is what it is. I thought I'd make this video to talk about this. This is why I enjoy a lot of these video games, because I can think about them from a development perspective. It's a lot of fun to just, assess them, another loading screen, and highlight exactly what's going on in regard to these games and why developers are making these choices. So shout out to the team at Insomniac for actually doing what was just necessary to make their game. This is exactly how you do it. This is a game that you already are tasked with making, so you want to do the best that you possibly can, especially if the game pretty much has its own paradigms and its own parameters. You just do whatever you can to execute the game in a sense, and you use whatever resources you have. You use whatever, you can tap yourself into to make the best possible game, that you can get your hands on. But anyways, I'll get out of your hair. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Do you care about a day-night cycle? I don't. I just want to play the game more than a day-night cycle. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. We'll talk pretty soon, hopefully. Peace out.